Alright, so I've received some of the parts. I've just been taking everything out of this box just to make sure that I have all of the components and everything. And mostly so that I can kind of prep some stuff before I actually assemble everything. So the biggest thing for me to prep, I think, is going to be this AIO. What I want to do is install the fans and then install the CPU mounting bracket before I make the video of me assembling the full computer, and that's just so that I don't have to take the time to do it on the video, because I want that video to go relatively quick, but I do still want to show you guys how to do it if you've never built a PC before, and how to deal with this AIO. And then I'm actually going to be stealing the screws from these fans and using them to mount the fans on the AIO. And I'm going to be explaining why in a bit, but actually I'm going to do that now, so let me move my camera around. So I am going to take this off. And then pull off that glass panel. Let me go put it over here. Alright. Okay. So the reason why is because this actually comes with thumb screws, and I prefer, at least from my experience, for these fan screws down here to have thumb screws on them. One, I think it looks better to have the black thumb screws up on the AI, or the black long screws up on the AIO. I think it looks nicer. And two, it is a lot more convenient to have these as thumb screws, especially once you install the graphics card, because if you have to mess with one of these pins or something down here, wire comes loose, you have to mess with something, it's a whole lot easier to reach underneath the graphics card and take a thumb screw out than it is to use a screwdriver like this to take these screws off of these fans in order to move them around and get them out of the way for one of the pins and stuff down here. So that's just my personal preference, is I like to swap the thumb screws from the AIO out and put them on these fans down at the bottom. So I'm going to be doing that now. That's why I'm stealing these screws. These aren't actually really going to get fully fastened down until these are gonna be the last thing to go on, just because I'm gonna be moving a bunch of wires around them and stuff, and so I don't want them fastened down, but I will just for now, just because I am gonna be waiting about another week for the CPU and motherboard to come in, so I'm just gonna have these securely fastened down in the meantime. And it's also just so that I don't lose these thumb screws either. So it's not those. Let me pull out all this hardware. So, okay, yeah, those are the thumb screws that I wanted. So let me put all this hardware over here. I'm not building anything today, I'm just kind of prepping some stuff. Oops. Okay. So these are the thumb screws I'm talking about. And trust me, this makes things a whole lot easier to move the fan around when you have the graphics card in. So, there we go. And I'm not even going to really screw them down all the way right now. I'm just going to put them in here to make sure that they don't get lost. And just to make sure that these fans don't move around and stuff. I am actually probably going to rotate the case this way just to save some space. I would like to do this build today, but unfortunately the CPU and motherboard are the last components I'm waiting on, and those are going to take a bit to come. Alright, so that's all good. I'm going to put the glass panel back on. And then I'm probably going to rotate this around like that, just so that takes up less space. Alright. So let's come back to this AIO now. All right. That was just my pocket knife falling, so. I think I want to leave the plastic on that. And I'm definitely not going to remove that until I'm ready to install it. But actually, no, I want to take the plastic off of that because I'm going to be preparing these brackets to go on. And let me show you how they go on. I want to show you the proper way to do it because it's just something that I messed up the first time doing a AIO on an AM5 socket. So it should just be, not those are the mounting screws. It's not those, not those. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I opened the wrong bag. Yeah, these are the ones for the AM5. Okay. So, let me just put those back. All of this hardware is going to be included with the in the box. By the way, I'm going to give the customer that buys this all of the hardware that came with these parts. Okay, well that is the bracket. So where are the screws for it? That's the question. So put all that stuff in there. Those look like the screws. Okay, let me get a smaller screwdriver bit. Actually, my fix-it kit's right here. Okay, that should be a good size. So, these screws are kind of small. Whoop, don't. I was just gonna say be careful not to lose them, just like I did right now. And God, I hate this floor sometimes because it's really hard to see when I lose stuff. So I may have to cut the video if it's gonna take me a minute to find this stuff. So, you know what? Let me just do the 3 screws that I have right now, and then I'll cut the video and put the 4th one in. But I just want to show you the direction that this goes in. All right. So when you're putting this on, you want to have the metal part on top, just like that. And then this part's going to go on the bottom, this part right here, because this is going to hook into the AM5 mounting bracket. So when I originally did this, I put it under here because it looks nicer that way. But that's not correct, because if you do that, it's going to create space and you're not going to get proper contact with your CPU, and it's going to overheat, which is exactly what it did for me, for mine. It would get up to, it would easily get up past 95, and it's only supposed to really get that hot under really extreme circumstances. All right, so let me make sure we do this the right way. Yeah, okay. So this little tab part should be facing downward. So we're gonna put this screw on very carefully. And I'm trying not to scratch this or be too rough with it. So we're gonna pop this on. Come on. These little screws can be a pain sometimes. Oh, come on, really? Okay, you know what I'm gonna do actually? Whoop. I lost another one. That's just great. You see, these are very easy to lose, so I'm gonna have to go digging for them in a minute. So, well, I just want to make sure I'm installing this the correct way. So it should be, okay, yeah. So I'm gonna do this top one first. So what I'm gonna do, I don't want to do that, is I'm actually just gonna screw it into this bracket. Did I grab the wrong after all that? See, this is why I wanted to do this prep, is so that I'm not... Oh, there we go. Okay. So, these are the right screws. I thought they were, because I've dealt with this AIO in the past. So, this is only like a $75 AIO, but it works pretty good. I mean, obviously there's ones out there that could probably give you some better temps, especially if you're aiming to do some heavy overclocking. This one admittedly doesn't have a ton of headroom for overclocking unless you are just gonna use PBO. If you're using PBO, you're gonna be fine, but if you're gonna do some kind of crazy overclock, this is probably not the right AIO, in all honesty. But for gaming, and I use PBO Profile 3 with this exact cooler, and it works just fine. Okay, so what are we doing wrong here? So, I'm gonna look at mine and see if are the screws on the other side. Yes, they are. So that's what I'm doing wrong. Okay. It's a good thing I got that other one to go take a look at. So that is why I'm doing this, so that we can learn together. And that you can see the mistakes that I made in real time. Alright, so what I'm gonna do here, just want to be gentle with this. Okay, yeah, just want to make sure I'm doing it correctly and that I'm not like making this go all on here all vertically or anything crazy like that. So just gotta be careful with this to not drop this screw again. So I'm just gonna put my thumb right here, stick the bracket on. Definitely don't want to take that off yet. So stick that bracket on and then screw it down. There we go. And then we're gonna do the same with this one. And then when this one is done, I'm gonna cut the video so that I can go and find these other screws. Because I really don't think that you guys want to see that. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong way. My bad. Even with these screws on the bottom like this, it will still sit flush on your CPU. Alright, perfect. So that one is installed. So I'm going to cut the video, go look for the screws, and come back to you guys. Make sure it's recording. Yes, it is. Okay. Alright, found the screws. So let's put them on now. And I'm just going to make sure that that's on correctly. No, that is not on correctly. It's got to be like this, same direction as the other one. So that is why with building a PC, you don't want to rush. You want to take your time. It's not a race. And the more you take your time the first time, the less you'll have to redo stuff, which will save you time in the long run. So I'm going to fold this sticker back. And then we are going to finish screwing this bracket in. Alright, and we have the mounting hardware installed. Except I think I did this, I don't think I did this upside down. Yeah, I did do this upside down. So I wasn't thinking about it. I was rushing through it. So we got to flip this around. That's okay though. And I'm going to just be very careful and try to keep the screws on here. Okay. So I'm going to actually go this way because this part has to come down and lock into the mounting hardware on the GPU. Come on. Come on. There we go. Really? Okay. So that's sort of on there. So just want to make sure. Alright, let's get that other one on. So that's nice and firm, and then yeah, so we've got it like that so that we're actually gonna be able to push it down on the chip and then push this part onto the little plastic hook and then screw this down. So sometimes looking at things can help you figure out what you did wrong. So that's okay though. Mistakes are gonna happen along the way. I'm just trying to not get any fingerprints on the copper, if I can help it, but I might just put some, when I actually go to install this, actually I think I'm going to do that when I actually go to install this. I'm just going to put some rubbing alcohol on it. Okay, wrong way, that's the right way. Alright, so we are going to put the screw back in. Alright. Line that up. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna hit that real quick with rubbing alcohol before I actually install it, just to get any fingerprints off of it. Alright. So that is how it should look. So that's the correct way to get that all mounted. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this back in its plastic, if it'll let me, with the mounting hardware and all. Gotta be gentle with those cords. That is the one thing I don't like about this AIO, is these cords are pretty flimsy and thin, which means if you pull on them too hard, they're probably going to rip. So it's something to keep in mind if you buy this AIO. Alright, perfect. So we're going to leave that plastic around that, and then we are going to install the fans. I'm going to get whatever that is off of the radiator. So those holes on the top are to actually mount it to the PC, but we don't want to mount it to the PC right now. So it's going to face like this in the PC, and then it's going to go like that on the CPU. So that's how we're going to want to put the fans in. Alright, so this comes with 3 RGB PWM fans, and we're going to be installing those now. Because we just want to think about this for a minute, because the AIO is going to face this way, we want all the cables to face that way. So that means when I put this fan on, I want all the cables to face the rear, just like that, because so I want these cables facing towards me, because that's where the cords are going to run when this is actually mounted to the computer. So actually I need to think about this for a minute, because if the fans are in this AIO, am I actually going to be able to install it in the computer? I think I will, but I might have to pull that front glass panel off. I'm just trying to think here. Actually, you know what? Let me test this out real quick, because I don't remember with this case. I know that this front glass does come off, but I don't know if it's necessary to pull that off to install this AIO or not. So let me just kind of test this out before I do anything crazy. So if I just yeah, so even with fans in, I don't think that's going to be a problem. So we're just going to get the fans ready. All right, yeah, facing that way. And then the cords are going to face this way. All right, perfect. So we're going to want to put them like that because these are nice and long. So they'll go all the way through. Tighten them down. You don't gotta go crazy with them. Just make sure that they're tight enough to where they're not gonna move because these fans do spin pretty fast. So. So that's one. So this is going to be number two. And line it up like this. All of these are set to exhaust in case you were wondering. It's gonna take the hot air from the CPU and push it out the top of the computer. There we go. All right. Sorry, there's not a lot of commentary in this video. All right. I like to save all the packaging though, just in case I have to make a return. So let's go like that. And hopefully I still have all four of these. Yes, I do. Thank goodness I didn't lose any. Alright. Yeah, I made that one too tight. So, alright. Screw that in. Come on, get in there. Alright, we're gonna skip that and come back to it. There we go. Oh, that is one bit. Oh, okay, yeah, you gotta be real careful there because if it gets off path and you're trying to ram the screw down, you could end up poking it into the radiator and then you're gonna have a really bad day. So that's what I'm trying to avoid here. Here we go. Oh, there we go. All right. And this you really want to put in after you install the motherboard also, because it's, especially on a mid-tower case, you might be able to get away with pre-installing this on a full tower case, but on a mid-tower case like this, it's going to be, these fans are not flush. That's gonna bug me. It's not gonna be. I completely lost my train of thought. Okay. What is going on here? So if you don't know what an AIO is, it means all in one. And this basically means that it's everything that you need. It's all in one for a liquid cooling solution, because it has the radiator, which is what I'm screwing the fans into, a pump, and a reservoir, which are the three main components of an AIO, but the pump and reservoir are both rolled into here. So, and it comes pre-filled with coolant ready to go. That's the nice thing about an AIO. I might have installed these incorrectly, so let me, so see, that's why I say you gotta pay attention to what you're doing. Although I thought I had done this before and I figured out that the cords needed to go towards me. So, oh well, we will redo that real quick. That's kind of why I'm prepping this. It's because I already know it's gonna have to go this way. So let's turn these fans around. Not a big deal. A little tedious, but not a big deal. And I'll reveal what CPU is going to go in here when it arrives. But you guys know the rest of the specs, and I think this is spec'd pretty decently for a gaming rig. Obviously, this is not going to be a cheap or a budget rig, but it really, I mean, it doesn't make any compromises. I mean, really, the only thing that is I probably would have wanted to do, but I think would have just been way too expensive, would have been to do a 4 terabyte NVMe. I went back and forth between doing a 1 and 2, and this build was so expensive as it is that I decided to go with a 1 terabyte. Because I see a lot of gaming systems that come with 1 terabyte drives, and I figured if I include a mechanical drive with it, it'll kind of help alleviate some of that, storage anxiety a bit. So that's why I'm including the mechanical disc as well. And I found a really good price on it, and really couldn't pass it up to include in this build. I think it was like $90, and I think that 4 terabyte version is normally like 120 or 130 bucks. So I got a pretty good price on it. Those Iron Wolf drives go on sale all the time. So sometimes you can find good deals on it, because if you can't find a good deal, just wait like 2 or 3 months, and then they'll discount some of the capacities, and then you might be able to get a good deal. So, but I really like the Iron Wolf drives. I've talked about it in another video. But because they're NAS drives, they're designed to be run 24/7, which means that I think that makes them a really good backup solution, because if you're taking a drive that's designed to be run 24/7 and you're not running it 24/7, then it's going to last way longer than it's intended to, which is a good thing, because that means that you're going to have a reliable drive. I'm just trying to line this screw up right here. You're going to have a good, reliable drive that's going to last you for a long time, and it's going to be really durable, again, because it's designed to run 24/7, but that just means that you're going to effectively be prolonging its life. And the other reason why I decided to get that too is because I actually debated between getting that or the WD Blue, and the WD Blue is not bad. I have nothing against WD, obviously, because it's going to have a WD NVMe in it. I have nothing against WD, but I just prefer the Iron Wolf drives. I was going to get the WD Blue drive for it, and then when I saw that this was on sale, because this is normally more expensive than regular desktop drives because it's a NAS drive, but they were selling for the same price, and I figured if they're the same price, I might as well get the higher quality, more durable drive. So I expect, as far as a mechanical drive goes, it's not going to last as long as an SSD, obviously. But as far as a mechanical drive goes, I expect that to last for a very long time. Okay. So, we'll do this again. Sorry that this part might be kind of boring right here. All right. And in there. What are we doing here? So what I was saying before, though, is that this computer is so expensive as it is that I think the biggest two things that I would want to upgrade at some point in the future, if I were going to be using this computer, it wouldn't be the CPU because it's going to have a really good CPU. It would honestly probably just be the NVMe. And actually, really, that's it. I would say the CPU, but it's going to have a really good CPU in it. So that wasn't really something that I was compromising on. It was just something that I was trying to make it more gaming focused on, because I can tell you it's not a Ryzen 9. But I wanted to make this computer more gaming focused. And it was okay. I'm just gonna move that fan out of the way for now. Let's just work on this one, and then we'll do that other fan last, because it just seems to be getting in my way. Lost my train of thought again. Oh yeah. My computer, as I've talked about before, doubles as a workstation, which is why I went with the Ryzen 9950X instead of the Ryzen 9950X 3D. However, if I was using the machine strictly for gaming, that would be a not a good move as far as optimizing gaming performance. I mean, it's not a bad computer. I mean, don't get me wrong. And either way, it wouldn't be a bad or a slow computer. But if you're going to spend, that much money on a CPU, and your computer is specifically for gaming, at that point you might as well go up to the 9950X 3D, or spend a little bit of extra money on your graphics card if you're not going to go up to the 9950X 3D. But I got a 5060 Ti because it's good enough for what I do. And it's good enough for the games that I play, but it is not a high-powered graphics card by any stretch of the imagination. But that doesn't mean it's underpowered, though. And what? I am so sorry that this is taking a long time to just put a fan in, but what? I don't know what's going on here. So, maybe it's this one that's all messed up. I don't know why putting a fan in is taking so long. So, screw that one back down, and then why don't we try something else here? Put this right here. Gently torque that down. And then we'll put this one here, and it's not going to, I see it going into the hole though. There we go. Alright, that's gonna go like that. And then hopefully that's gonna be lined up. I can feel the thread. It's not wanting to cooperate. I don't want to strip that thread out. Yeah, now it's going in. There we go. Okay. Or strip the head of the screw either. That would really suck. Okay. Alright. That's done. Be a lot quicker with the thumb screws, but obviously I use those on the bottom fan because that's going to save time in the long run, especially, you know, if you want to go reconfigure anything down there. It'll make it easier. You won't have to pull your whole graphics card out. Let's see. So yeah, this machine is more gaming focused than it is productivity focused, which is again why I decided to go with the 5070 Ti instead of the 5060 Ti, because what I saved on CPU not going up to a Ryzen 9, I was able to put into the graphics card, which is exactly what I did. And I think a 5070 Ti is a really good card. I think it's decent at 4K, really good at 1440p, and just an all-around powerhouse of a card. So, all right, there we go. So it's gonna go in like that. Perfect. All right. So we've got our AIO all prepped. So let me just put this back in its protective thing right here in this little bag. Come on. Okay, so I'm not going to try to stuff that in the bag. That's just going to hang like that, which is not going to hang, excuse me, it's going to sit like that. So that's just going to go like that. So, all right, so the rest of that's going to go over there. So I do just want to show you guys the graphics card real quick though. I am leaving it in a little protective anti-static bubble wrap until it's ready to be installed. Now it does come with this adapter for power, but it also comes with, and I didn't even know it came with a sag bracket, but it does comes with a sag bracket. So I'll probably be utilizing that when I install it. There's not a lot of room for a sag bracket in here, but I'll try and figure something out. If I can't figure out how to get this exact sag bracket in with the limited amount of space I have down here, it might work. If I can't, I have another sag bracket that I'll throw in there that should work. So just want to show this beauty off real quick before I end this video. And all this plastic is going to come off right before I install the card. I'm just going to leave all that on for now. But this is a Zotac 5070 Ti. It's got 3 fans. It's factory overclocked. I'm not sure of the exact clock speed, but I do know that it is factory overclocked from a standard 5070 Ti. It looks like it has 3 DisplayPort and 1 HDMI, like most modern graphics cards. So it's gonna sit like that, and that fan is gonna be pushing some air onto it. So that is gonna mildly block the airflow, but it should be all right. And I just wanna make sure I didn't scuff anything. Yeah, it should be all right. I didn't scuff anything up, thank goodness. So that's gonna go back in that bag, protect it all. And there we go, everything is all ready to go. Prior to, let me stick this RAM. This is not 4 sticks of RAM, this is 2 sticks and 2 dummy sticks, for those of you who are wondering. So that RAM's gonna go in the bag right there, and there we go. So it looks like I've got everything all prepped and ready to go. So once we get the
once we get the CPU and motherboard in, we'll be ready to go to install this, and I'll announce the. I should be getting that in on Thursday. If I get it late on Thursday, I'll probably start the build on Friday. But I want to try to do it live if I can. So I'll announce that date when I go live as soon as I can. So thank you guys.